Mr. Chairman, thank you, Secretary Nielsen, for being here today. Secretary Nielsen, what is the volume of drugs that is coming through the southern border illegally?
I don't have the exact figure at my fingertips, but it's going up, particularly cocaine, methamphetamines, and unfortunately fentanyl.
Our numbers show since fiscal year 12 about 15 million pounds seized. Does that sound like that's in the ballpark?
It does, but it sounds like it might not include the Coast Guard, which would be a whole
15
other
million
additional.
pounds. Would you say that's a crisis? 15 million pounds?
Yes, sir.
We talked about fentanyl a little bit earlier. Drugs so powerful that less than 5 pounds can kill over 1 million people. Our numbers show that almost 1,700 pounds in fiscal year 2018. Is that somewhere in the ballpark?
Yes.
Would that be a crisis to the DHS?
It is, because it's an extraordinary danger to our communities, but it's also a danger to those who are inspecting packages. We've spent a lot of time on training. We had to do a lot of things differently, even for the dogs who were dying just by virtue of breathing the fumes from the fentanyl.
We've talked about the massive amount of individuals or people coming across the southern border. Do you have any estimates per year what that looks like?
We are on track right now to be at 900,000 this year.
Okay. Are apprehensions of family units and aliens of accompanied alien children increasing or decreasing right now?
They are increasing extraordinarily rapidly. Family units went up around 30% from last month, and the same for UACs. Those are the two vulnerable populations that are dramatically increasing.
Yeah, I think in the fiscal year 2018, the number was 107,000. Already, the first 4 months of fiscal year 2019, that starts in October, is 99,000. Now, have you had a chance to meet former DHS Secretary Jay Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. I wonder if he would also consider this a crisis, because since the previous administration, that number has increased 572%. My question, at what point does it become a crisis?
Sir, if you ask the men and women of DHS, they would tell you when one migrant dies, when one person is not afforded the opportunity to efficiently claim asylum, they would tell you for a community that has been the victim of violence due to criminals that come in that flow, they would tell you it just takes one. It takes one terrorist, it takes one criminal to ruin a family's lives, and it takes one overdose to kill an American.
Did you have any idea of the level of how difficult and dangerous the issue was just a few years ago before you took the position, or has this been something that's been sort of a knowledge that you've ascertained since you've been in the position of secretary?
I, before becoming secretary, did not have the opportunity to speak in detail to the men and women on the front lines, and no, I was not aware of how dangerous the situation it is.
Do you think most Americans truly understand how dangerous this situation is?
I do not, no.
If most Americans had a chance to go to the border, would they consider this a crisis?
Yes, sir, just by the pure numbers coming in and our inability of the system to properly take care of them.
What kind of job do you say the men and women that work for Immigrations, Custom and Enforcement, ICE, what kind of job on the front lines are they doing?
Extraordinary. They work every day, many times at risk of their own lives. Assaults on Border Patrol agents Border Patrol officials continue to arise. They do it with compassion. They live in these communities. They enforce the law, but they want to make sure and continue to ask me, to ask Congress to change the law so that the system can be more humane.
You know, we talk a lot about as far as people having input who actually are on the front lines doing the work. According to our numbers in 2017, we talk a lot about children, and we should. We should make sure that we restore as many children as we can. I did hear the 3 reasons of why that may be a problem sometimes: prosecutorial, the guardian poses a risk, or there's another issue that you had to take a look at. But according to our numbers, there were 906 children that were rescued from exploitation just in 2017. Does that number match your numbers as well?
Yes, sir. Human trafficking, child exploitation are something that we're working on. We're about to release the first ever DHS strategy to combat that. But yes, the numbers are going up.
So all of these numbers continue to go up, whether it's the human trafficking, or whether it's the drug smuggling. The former colleague just talked about the more we squeeze the border. Well, evidently, the numbers continue to rise. So as we look at all these numbers, in summary, Can you tell the American people that this is not a manufactured crisis, this is a legitimate national emergency?
This is a legitimate national emergency. This is a twin crisis, and we can do better as a country. We have to have a system where we can protect vulnerable populations, we can secure our border, which is our sovereign responsibility, we can protect communities while facilitating legal trade and travel.